Hello everyone and welcome to the Pennzoil Pro Series for Season 5, Race Number 6 at Mosport, the Menards 350. The drivers are ready to take on the 2.5 mile road course complex out of Ontario, Canada, our first time north of the border this season. We visited this track twice in the past. This will be our third time coming to this complex. It's always an exciting time coming to Mosport, and I'm sure we'll see some great racing here again today. Kyle Collins is on the pole, last year's winner of the race, starting to his outside the 47 of Michael Jones, also very strong in qualifying. His teammate Brian Boone, two-time defending pole winner, will not defend it this year. He'll be starting from the 7th position, and just in front of him, rounding out the top 5 in the 5th position, was Jay Durrel, always very stout at these road courses. A top 10 packed with some very stout names of road courses up at the top of the grid, but also some surprises further down. Sam Rogers, Matthew Brown, and how about Derek Petrie in the 53 car, your current points leader, starting way deep in the field. Also notably, Nia Dever becomes the last driver to make her career start this season, and she'll finally qualify for race. There's the cars that did not qualify in the final 6 spots down at the bottom. Here are your onboard cameras for today's race. Webster Zygarde, Aaron Luce carrying the Chevrolet and the Miller Lite onboard cameras respectively, with Jay Durrel with the Garmin by Fusion onboard camera from inside the cockpit. They'll be giving us some great views for today's action. And as they go down the longest straight from a road course we see here in the ASCA League, and now back down through the S's, pace car is going to lead the field, 42 cars strong, and it'll be an exciting one today. No cautions for our first road course race of the season as per usual, and we'll have to see how that plays out as we go through today's race. Off of the final corner and green flag, the starter waves the field down on by, and we are ready for 26 high-speed laps at Motorsport. You saw Kyle Collins step 2 tires off the track here, as already they are getting very racy, and it looks like Michael Jones taking the long way around. He will rally to first place in the corners, and if there's ever a track, or at least a type of track that you want to have good track position on starting out, it's a road course. The ASCA League does not impose caution flags, or full course yellows at least, at road course races. It is a green flag race all the way through, and oh no, Cesar Chavez stuck on pit road before the race even began. And just talking about no caution flags, there's no way he can really come back from this, it looks like. And he'll have to try to salvage anything he can. Coming off of a great result at Kentucky, a 7th place run, and a disappointing start here today at the first road course race of the season. We'll have to see exactly what the issue is on that 24 car. But meanwhile, starting the second lap, Michael Jones has gapped the rest of the field, making last year's winner look kind of sleepy right now on the start, as that's at least a 10 car gap. And Jones very strong here. You see new number colors on the Bad Dad Racing cars, the 47 and the 70 carrying the gold numbers. Now we see the other Bad Dad Racing car here doing the gold numbers for their final season in the series. And it's, I mean, if they want to come out here and show those numbers off, this is one of the best places. Boone is a 2-time pole sitter, and he is currently storming up through the pack with some very quick lap times. And with Michael Jones out front, they look to be the team to beat here early on in the going. But I wouldn't really put it past Kyle Collins to be saving some tires here in that 83 car, although he has let the 38 car, that's his teammate that's gone by him, into 2nd position up there, Aaron Lukes. But for Kyle Collins, he's so great at this track. We saw it last year. But how about Old Spice Racing as a whole? The car behind him is another Old Spice Racing teammate. So if there's a team that's going to compete with Bad Dad Racing, it's the team that currently has 3 cars inside the top 5. Very strong for them also in the early going. But with Old Spice Racing in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and Bad Dad Racing in 1st and 5th, the sleeper could be Fitzwater Australia Racing, and at a road course that's kind of hard to believe. But for Jay Durrel running in 6th place, he kind of went off there at 5B, definitely caught some grass, and he hasn't been the fastest car this week, but you can't really ever count out Jay Durrel on these road courses. Definitely the king, as we've come to know him, at these tracks where you turn both left and right. all throughout the race. Back behind, deeper in the field, we have Zach Komoski, who showed a lot of muscle in the Coppet Amateur Series race. Was unable to come away with the victory in the closing laps, but has a chance to redeem himself today in the Pennzoil Pro Series. Just in front of him, Kyle Singer, who made his way by. I think all of Big Motorsports wanted a bit of a change. At least if they could do qualifying over again, they'd do something differently. Their points leader, obviously, Derek Petrie, deep in the field, but Kyle Singer also isn't looking that good. Outside the top 10, which is where he has almost become known to be. 10 out of the last 12 races he's finished inside the top 10, dating back to last year. And it's kind of surprising not to see him in the top 10. As we watch the cars go by on screen now, the 11 car isn't too far outside the top 10, but he's got a little bit of ways to go, and he can't let any of the ground up he has now, with there being no caution flags in this race. The 61 team was a big story topic coming into this race. Alexander Rowe made the race and actually qualified very well for Tanker Motorsports. August Eberhard did not make the race. The sponsor, CHI Garage Doors, was pretty fed up with the 57's qualifying efforts and actually switched their sponsorship over to the 61 car. Unsure if this is permanent or not. However, it's nice to see the 61 have some sponsorship. Rowe has really been showing a lot of speed. We saw him at Bristol with no sponsorship at all in the car. One of the few times we've seen that. And he was able to put together a somewhat decent run. Whoa, look at the 11 car going wide. That was Singer back there. But as for Rowe, he's a good run for Tanker Motorsports would be excellent. And maybe showing some prowess maybe at these road courses. And another driver, if you want to show prowess at a road course, how much better can you be than to run in front of Jay Durrel? And especially if that's your teammate, Stuart Gratton, the 59, really showing a lot of strength. And honestly, Jay Durrel might just be showing a lot of weakness right now. The car is not turning from through 5B there, and he is giving up a lot of spots here. He's outside the top 10 now from where he started in the top 5. Blaine Keys has had a rough go in the start of the season, and this race is not going to go any better. You see him getting into the tire barrier there. Luckily, that did not end up catching his car like we've seen in the past, and he is able to continue on in the race. Anyways, back at the front of the field, not much has changed since the start of the race as we're on lap 8, and Michael Jones is out front, but it's not going to be that way for long if he keeps making those mistakes. Ran a little wide in the final corners before the long straightaway, and Aaron Lukes is now up the inside. Brightview Agriculture on the car. It was very shocking to not see Brickman on Aaron Lukes' car, as that has been a long-time sponsor dating back to 2015, but the company was bought out, and now Brightview is adorning the car's hood. We see Aaron Lukes coming down pit road. That's a little early, I think, but he's going to bring a few other cars down with him. You see the 47, the 96 going by. His teammate Kyle Collins also looks like he's coming down pit road. And a bunch of drivers deciding to play their hand early in the race and get some fresh rubber on their car and see maybe if they can make up some time. But look at pit road. This is the second time through. Look at how cramped it is. Some pretty close calls there on pit road coming out of their pits. Matthew Brown there stuck back in traffic. Definitely not the start DW Motorsports wanted to see, with Cesar Chavez dropping out due to some electrical issues we're getting word of on that 24 car at the start of the race. But after pit stops, we see the 70 car continuing to fight his way up through the pack, getting around Nicholas Samudio for the 4th position. And Brian Boone is a winner here at this track. He knows how to get it done, so I would not be surprised if he ends up at the top of the field by the end of this thing. 35 car, Nia Dever making her first start of the season. This team is has been very sketchy over the last few races, not having much to write home about aside from John Cittadino making the 500. However, having Nia Dever make this race has been a huge morale boost, at least it seems from their camp, as having to go home each and every week so far has been dismal for that program, and hopefully they can make some turnarounds here going forward. Some turnarounds also need to be happening at Red Viper Racing, a very average team so far earlier in this. And a car off in the back. Oh, and that's Maritab Zrischel. And I was going to say how great she had been doing later in the race. Oh, and we're too late though. Zrischel's gonna dump the car off the track into the tire barrier. I guess I'll say it now, Zrischel holding a top 28 in points up to this race. It doesn't look like it's gonna continue, but has had a pretty decent start to the season for the rookie and the 2017 Copa Amateur Series champion. It's not going to go well here today, though, as the 51 will retire early. Back up front, though, look at the 70 car making his way up to the 3rd position, getting around Kyle Collins. Man, and I kind of wanted to see Kyle Collins start to make up some ground, but it just seems like he doesn't have enough for those Dodges out front right now. Here's Ryan Kendall, and I'll continue what I was saying about Red Viper Racing. Compared to some of the other Dodge teams like Overdrive Motorsports and Bad Dad Racing and Fitzwater Australia Racing for that matter, the main flagship Dodge team has kind of fallen to the wayside, and Kendall in 14th in points and Rick Witt in 20th, that's all they have inside the top 20 right now. Eric Willis has not been doing too good. Monaco has been kind of a disaster for a rookie at that team. They're just looking for something to turn around here early in the season, hopefully, instead of later, so they can have a chance to recoup and try to get inside the top 20 in points before the regular season is over. Derek Petrie, just the surprise of the race so far, I mean, has completely missed the setup, obviously, running towards the back in the lower 30s, currently 35th as you see on the ticker. But for your points leader, this is completely out of left field. We did not expect this at all. Very obviously does not like this road course, as it seems. Behind him as well, the 27 car of Ruby Easton holding 17th in points. It's been kind of a slow free fall for Easton at that Overdrive Racing camp. And unfortunately, it looks like she'll probably drop out of the top 20 in points, but plenty of time to get her season turned back around again as well after starting out the season 1-2 for Overdrive Motorsports. Sam Rogers, though, as well, very, very deep in the field. How about your 9th place in points with that 7 car? Mosport has really decided to turn up the rankings in the point standings right now. But hold that for now, because the 38 car is coming down pit road. And this is our 2nd round of green flag pit stops. So the first time for Luke's was lap 8. And your leader is now going to come down at lap 16, I believe that was. And we'll have to see. I mean, Luke's, that's kind of cutting it close. He might not have enough fuel to get to the end. As for Michael Jones, you see pitting at the end of lap 18, that might be the better strategy, because I think that'll just get you to lap 26. And either way, wow, look at Luke's. They had a slow pit stop in that 38 camp. And here's the 83 car, maybe turning on the turbo in the later stages. He's coming up to 2nd place. Obviously has some ground to catch up on the number 47, but through pit stops, he's gotten back by the number 70 car, who has plateaued a little bit. As for Michael Jones, he hasn't shown as much speed as his teammate at this track. However, he's proving the doubters wrong that he is 2nd place to Brian Boone, as he has really decided to take off ever since the start of the green flag. And despite having Luke's get in front of him, I believe pit strategy might actually end up winning this thing for him. We'll have to see, though. Webster Zygarde, we've mentioned how this has been one of the slackers for Big Motorsports with Kyle Singer and Derek Petrie on top. You see the 12 car of Webster Zygarde not even inside the top 20. It's been devastatingly bad for him, and a lot of the problems and inconsistencies have been through this team. And however, he's turning it around, is running the best right now out of all the Big Motorsports cars. So kind of having a bright spot with that 12 team so far earlier in the race. Further back, Sergio Larvin Alonso. No penalties after that kind of brain fade we saw last week at Kentucky, and is also having a decent run just outside the top 20, but that's some points for the Spirit Motorsports organization, who really needs a pick-me-up right now as their team has kind of fallen flat here in the early stages of the season. Zach Komoski in the 43 car of Jay Durrel, those two are battling side by side. Two road course ringers. Komoski was actually originally known for his super speedway prowess after his upset victory at Daytona in 2015. Actually, we have a partial course caution on the track, and Chloe Baker, oh no. And that spot has claimed another car, as that's 4 now across both the Pennzoil Pro Series and the Copa Amateur Series. Such a tough corner to go around. It's a downhill slope. You going too hot and there's no recovering after your car hits the grass. Unfortunate for Chloe Baker, she's the next victim. Though continuing on, the 2 car of Jay Barker want to point him out. Once our points leader earlier in the season was not able to hold on to it, currently sitting 5th in points, having a decent run, and he'll probably gain some points here today. And there's what we were fearing. Aaron Lukes is on pit road, and I doubt that's for tires either. And that will drop him deep down the running order. And now your new leader, Michael Jones, or excuse me, actually still the leader. That was out of 3rd place. But Michael Jones still holding the lead. However, if you look behind, last year's winner is starting to close in a little bit. Kyle Collins may be showing some strength later in the going after some adjustments on pit road. And the Toyota versus Dodge show, it looks like it's going to unfold in the next 2 laps. And we'll have to see, is Kyle Collins able to make up that much ground? For Michael Jones, just a veteran of the sport. I mean, both of these guys are veterans, but for Michael Jones, the 2nd ever winner in the ASCA League, he is definitely tuned in here today. In that 47 car, you'd be hard-pressed to find an issue, or at least a simple error for that 47 car. And you can see he's almost even growing the gap now over Kyle Collins, letting Collins feel like he has a shot. Maybe he almost tempt him to make the mistake, but now he's just pulled away again. And he only has half the track left to go before he is able to secure his first victory, and Bad Dad Racing 2nd in 6 races. And right now it looks like he's going to be able to do that, going down the back stretch, the long back stretch with the sweeping hills. One of the best, one of the prettiest courses on the circuit right now, and it's a great track, and we always go to this course. You see some battling all the way through the field. It's a competitive track, and we have seen some great battles here today. But as for Michael Jones, he will win the big one, and he will take the checkered flag and win the entire thing. In all 26 laps, he led the most of them, that's for sure. In the Bad Dad Racing Dodge, once again we'll see victory lane, this time with Michael Jones, as he'll take home the Menards 350 trophy. And this really sets Bad Dad Racing as one of the top candidates for championship. Number 2 at the end of the season would be for them. And I think this is definitely one of the teams you have to beat. Michael Jones actually running out of gas. And as the sun sets in Canada, another race is in the books. And a 2nd win for Bad Dad Racing. Michael Jones first of the season, probably not the last either. And you see those gold numbers. For a podium, Brian Boone will finish in the 3rd spot, and Kyle Collins, a great run for him wedged in between. Nicholas Samudio, very quiet and solid 4th place. And how about Webster Zygarde finishing 5th? A great jump back into the season for him after having kind of a dismal start to the year. Aaron Lukes, honorable mention there in the 22nd position. With a little bit different pit strategy, it might have been Lukes crossing the line in the lead and winning the race, but obviously not meant to be. And how about some of the finishes? Matthew Brown, Colin Denton, Sam Rogers, Ryan Kendall as well having to come down pit road towards the end of the race. That's going to drop and really shake the point standings up. You see Derek Petrie with his subpar run. He'll drop to 5th in points, but as for Kyle Singer, another top 10, and that'll push him to the top of the board. Down at the cut line, you see it's still plenty competitive after 6 races, and it'll probably be continuing into race 7 at Chicagoland, which is where the Pennzoil Pro Series will see you next race. However, before we go to Illinois, we have one extra stop to make, the Copper Amateur Series Race 5 at Pocono. We'll see you all then.